Okay, so I'm gonna try to sum this up without making a humongous video on it. I've been working on this waste oil burner for quite a while now, since before the beginning of summer, probably back right as uh, winter ended last year. And I have watched a bunch of different videos on these oil burners and how people would put this in or that in, or they would do it this way, or just all kinds of things. And I've taken a lot of designs and incorporated it in this one oil burner that hopefully is going to do well. Um, so we'll kind of take you through here, show you some images because this again, this was one of those projects that was before I started doing the videos. So hopefully we'll get this. The first thing you're seeing is the front. I've already cut the door and kind of welded these little things around the front of it, and I've put a latch on it, but the latch sucks. So later on in the design, I cut that latch off and just made one of my own. And you can also see that I have cut out for best the best thing I can say is heat exchangers. They're just conduit, is all they are. They're conduit, and the idea is to get those hot, and then I'm gonna have forced air come through them, so it'll blow the heat out. Plus, I'll get the radiant heat. So we can see in this one, it's just where I've cut the hole in the top, and you can see those going all the way through the tank, and this just shot of the top here. I want to run a 4-inch exhaust on this, so hopefully that'll give me enough room to weld something there to put my 4-inch exhaust onto. This is the start of the forced air. So I've taken a 2-inch pipe and I've welded it through, and then it's got an L on it inside. So you'll see later on that I've welded another pipe to this, and it will be eventually attached to a fan on the underneath of it so that I can force air into the burn chamber and try to get this as hot as possible and get some heat out there. Okay, you can see this is the burn chamber there where the pot is, and I haven't got around to it, but the uh fuel pipe will go down through there. I'm sorry, I can't talk tonight for some reason. And these are those same heat exchangers on the back and in the front, and they're all welded up now, so that I don't have anything escaping out into the air, carbon monoxide or what have you. And I'm starting to box the rear of it in. The reason for that is I have to build up air pressure uh, to flow through those heat exchangers. And you could just see it in that last video there. You could see, well, you can see it in this one too. There's that 2-inch pipe that's also welded into the box. So later on, it will get connected to a 2-inch pipe going all the way down and then connected to a fan. There's that pipe that'll be connected to a fan. Um, this is also the one pipe here that goes into the burn chamber so that everything gets done. And man, for some reason, there's another shot of the front. Okay, so if you go back in the video and look at this, I had like this fire pit type of thing that I reused and welded on here. Problem with that is that it completely tips, and there's no way I was going to have something that was 1500 degrees and on fire tipping on me. So I went back and made me a cage for it, like a cage stand for it to sit on, and now it's pretty rock solid. It's not gonna tip over. This is just a barbecue meter that goes up to like 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't think it's going to be accurate. It'll probably go over that, but it'll give me a good idea of what it's burning at. So this is the feed tube. It's also just conduit. I welded a washer on it, and it just goes in about the same places where that air goes to on the burn chamber, and there will be 1/4 inch uh, copper going down through that all the way to the burn chamber to supply the oil into that pot. So I've put a couple braces right here just in case anything hits that oil tube. It it uh, will not move it and kink that copper wiring. And so you can see me now. I'm cleaning up all of this stuff that was on there before. This is where that crappy uh, I don't know, the latch system. It was kind of like a gate latch or something. I don't know. It sucked. It wouldn't let the door close all the way. So what I'm doing now is I'm just cleaning all this off. I've already plasma cut the thing off, and now I'm just grinding it down to where it's level again, so I can start to build me a new handle that will, hopefully hold this thing in place. You can also see that more than half of the door has been burned off because it just bent on me for some reason. And I had to heat this up with a torch and just go and beat the crap out of it to get it back into shape and to get it to shut right again. So that's where we're at on that. So this, I would have left the audio in here, but it's just a bunch of loud stuff of me grinding, and I'm not talking. So there was no reason to keep the audio in. So this project is still ongoing. Yeah, guys, I haven't finished it. I just have, 13,000 other things that I'm doing. But this is getting to the point to where it is almost ready to test. There's just a couple more things that I need to do, and I have finished this latch. The problem with this couple next videos you're going to see here is I did this when like I was really, really bad sick, and I was just looking for something to do so that I didn't get stuck in the bed. When I get this bad sick, if I sit somewhere for too long, it it's just bad. I'll end up in a hospital. So that's what I was doing with these couple clips here. I was getting some stuff done on the old burner. I did mount the shelf to the wall for the oil burner to hold the fuel cell for it because it still is gravity fed. And you can see that I put the copper line in it there too if you look. So I was kind of out here doing this stuff, and yeah, it didn't last too long. I couldn't do too much. Um, so here I've got to get that orange paint, red paint, whatever color it is. I don't know what color it is really, but I'm getting an off around that exhaust port because I'm gonna have to weld something on there so that I can use the little connector that goes over top of it for the stovepipe exhaust. And I need something there that I can clamp that to that it won't leak. So I'm going to have to find me a piece of pipe to weld there. I haven't found that as of yet, but I'm getting it ready to do. So that way when I do find it, I can just, go right at it. But I also put that little, well, I think I already mentioned the thermometer, but so I will come back with a voiceover here in just a second. So I've kind of planned out this little, and definitely excuse the really rough cuts and stuff on this, and I'm having to grind a bunch of it down. But I've kind of went with the design that most people went with this waist. I don't know why I did the other one. I should have just did this from the beginning. Again, it is video, but I'm not talking in this video. And even if I was, you couldn't hear it over top of this grinder. But this is just part of the handle here. And this is the same evening that I was doing all this other stuff. So the only thing I was really trying to do is to get this handle done and get it in place and get some welds thrown on it. Just get it to the point to where all I had to do was some cleanup later on. But, my hands really weren't that steady with the plasma cutter when I cut this stuff out. And I ended up having to do a lot of cleanup before I even put it on. So that's what I'm doing here, is that's the main part of the handle. And then there's two little pieces after this that one welds to the thing and then the other one the welds right over top of it. And then this piece goes in between, and that's what holds the door shut. I'll show you a picture of it at the end here, but it's pretty common. I see these on most all of the waste oil burners, or the bigger ones anyway, like mine. Mine is, I believe it's a 50 some or 60 gallon old air tank that I made this out of. So I'm hoping this has, enough volume to heat the shop. But yeah, I'm just grinding all of this down, and then I welded it on, but forgot to, you know, video the weld, of course. And so I just got a picture of it at the end that I'll let you see the new thing. Now I'll probably have to put like a piece of wood over top of that handle or something. I'm sure that piece of metal is going to be hot, so I've got a wood lathe too. So maybe I'll make something to put in there and kind of epoxy it in, and hopefully it'll hold. But I'll go ahead and leave the voiceover for here because it's not really that exciting for me to talk about grinding. But yeah, there we go. And like I said, this is ongoing project. It's still not done. This is as of September 23rd. And I got kicked out of the garage by my wife because of my sickness, and I was told that I couldn't work in the garage anymore. I had to come in and take a break and take medicine and lay down and this and that. So, oh well, sometimes you just got to pick your battles.